Hello and welcome to what is a video specifically for our South African viewers. I've asked you to come to the YouTube channel because I said on the TV programme that there's loads of interesting models that I saw at the EICMA Expo that simply don't get imported into South Africa. Those of our viewers not from South Africa, and there's many of you around the world, won't want to watch this video because you're all totally familiar with the models I'm about to mention. If you're South African and you want to ride a Honda on the road, then you're offered a pretty limited choice these days, and the majority of that choice, counterintuitively it seems to me, is from the very top end of the range really. So if you want to go touring, then you have the Goldwing, and as far as I know, if you fancy a bit more Goldwing style and prefer the bagger version that we showed on an earlier episode of the show, that isn't actually available. Or you can take the Africa Twin, a lovely bike that makes perfect sense to have on sale in adventure bike mad South Africa. You can have the do-it-all urban all-rounder, the NC750X, and you can have both versions of the Fireblade, the base model and the not so base model. Oh, and there's a road-going 125 called the Ace. And that's about your lot. I'm steering clear of the off-road bikes and the dual-purpose type models in the CRF and XR ranges for now. My intention is just to show what's missing in terms of road and adventure bikes. Trail riders in SA are pretty well catered for with the Africa Twin and then the CRFs in the small capacity class. Although one major omission is the CB500X that, although very much a soft roader, it does offer a decent mid-sized affordable entry into the adventure bike class. It's been out for about 3 years, I think it is now, in Europe and has seen quite a significant update for 2022. That would make it, you would think, a great option for our local market. This is a very capable touring bike with the ability to handle the odd gravel trail, and it comes with Honda's excellent reputation for build quality and reliability in a small package. Judging by the costs in Europe, you might expect this little all-rounder to come in at just under 140,000 Rand or so. Perhaps Honda thinks that would be a little too expensive for it to have any great impact in SA. Before we leave the soft-roading segment, may I just remind you that there's also the very funky adventure version of the NC750 in a scooter format called the X-ADV, X-ADV or something. And now there's a 350cc version of that. Very cool. But given SA's traditional disdain for big capacity scooters, you can understand why these models aren't imported. I don't know much about the 125 Ace that's on sale in South Africa, other than that it features an air-cooled engine and retails for a smidgen under 28,000 Rand. If you're a delivery rider or business owner, then this is hoping to tempt you away from something like a Hero. But if you're a youth, then you'll not be putting a picture of this on your bedroom wall. You might, however, have a picture of the CBR 125R and its liquid-cooled, fuel-injected 120 km/h performance. It is a lovely looking thing, but only rich kids need apply because 65,000 Rand is a lot of money when your mum is still giving you dinner money for school every morning. Concentrating now on naked road bikes, let me show you some models that I personally like very much, though they are not imported to South Africa, probably because the country for so long now has not exactly been receptive to the idea of naked bikes. That might be changing though, slowly, given the rest of the world's obsession with naked sport bikes over the past couple of years. And if there are any sales to be had in this segment, then Honda is actually well positioned to take a good portion of them, given its Neo Sports Cafe range. Yeah, I know it's a bit of a naff designation, but what we have here are three very desirable naked models. So let us begin with the naked flagship, the CB1000R, which is just a great looking bike that features a smooth 143 horsepower inline 4-cylinder engine that originally saw the light of day in the 2004 Fireblade. It's not quite a super naked, but that's no bad thing because the Japanese tend to have left the hardcore sporting stuff to the European manufacturers while they cater to the more real-world, fast but not frantic end of the market, and the CB1000R does this extremely well. It received a decent update in 2021 and now also comes in a black edition that suits Honda's cafe racer look to a T. The base model would in theory set you back about 235,000 Rand, which is good value, while the black edition and all its extras would be somewhere closer to 255,000 Rand. If that's a bit rich for you, then the middleweight CB650R Neo Sports Cafe is a similarly styled model, also featuring an inline 4-cylinder engine, putting out a very handy 92 horsepower. It has upside down forks and radial brakes in what is a very competent and also good looking all-round package that actually destroys most of its natural competitors in terms of horsepower. It might be at the expensive end of the middleweight segment in South Africa, where it could retail around the 150,000 Rand mark, but it does offer a lot of style and performance compared to some of its slightly more affordable rivals. If you fancy the same ingredients but in a racier package with a full fairing, there's the CBR version, but then you would be looking at somewhere just over 165 grand probably. Still, it is once again a lot of practical sport bike for the money. For something a bit more affordable, there is the CB500F, using the same underpinnings as the X-ADV style version that I mentioned a little earlier, or alternatively you could go for the R model with its racier approach to middleweight biking. All versions of the 500 have the same 47 horsepower output, which might sound ideal for beginners, but in fact is proving to be a hit with experienced riders as well. Honda's own research shows that 75% of its 500cc customers are actually experienced bikers. The F could be about 116,000 Rand, I think, and then the R would be about 10 grand more expensive than that. These are okay prices, but not that good when you consider that some of the competitors' 650 and 700cc parallel twins are only about 10 or 15 grand more expensive, showing us a possible reason why they haven't been imported into the country so far. And to finish, let us consider the two custom Rebels, the CMX 1100 and its smaller 500cc stablemate. I haven't ridden either bike, but I would be interested in a go on the larger version, since colleagues I've spoken to from the UK say it is actually a very entertaining bike to ride. Plenty quick enough, with a milder state of tune for the Africa twin-sourced engine that is still good for 85 horsepower and 97 newton meters, and it's got some surprisingly sprightly handling despite the traditional lack of ground clearance in a cruiser, which means you should probably think of this bike more as a relaxed naked bike with an uncomfortable cruiser riding position. Yeah, I know, a bit weird. But anyway, I do think it's pretty bloody ugly, to be honest, especially in the bronze Canon paint, which might more aptly be described as poo brown. But then I'm no arbiter of good taste, that's for sure. And I'm sure the very, very attractive 190,000 Rand price tag would soon make me overlook the colour. The smaller Rebel offers an entryway into the cruiser market with its bobber styling and 47 horsepower twin-cylinder engine, but at 120 grand or perhaps even a bit more, it isn't offering anywhere near the same kind of bargain as its bigger brother. So, fellow South Africans, if you think, and I know from the mails I get that a lot of you do, that Honda's range is a bit thin in South Africa, then you'd be right. Times are tough economically in SA at the moment, and if you look at the other manufacturers, you'll notice that they have also cut back on the full range of bikes that they import, though I do have to say I think Honda has taken the knife to its lineup more viciously than many of the other manufacturers. If there's something in their range that you want, then I suggest you start emailing the head office and hassling your local dealers to see if they can be persuaded to bring the model in. In the good old days, you might have found what you were looking for on the grey market, but that's long since been crushed, and in the process of helping protect the local official importers has actually drastically reduce the range of affordable bikes on offer in the local marketplace. Times are undoubtedly tough if you're a Honda fan wanting one of these excellent bikes that the rest of the world gets to ride, some of which are not only excellent, they're actually relative bargains as well. Sorry about that, but I'll drown your sorrows and mine with a large glass of something tasty and potent. Merry bloody Christmas.